Following is a commercial program paid for by Penn State Health. The opinions and views expressed belong to its sponsors and are not those of Nexstar Media Incorporated, this station, their affiliates, or employees.
Tonight,
it was just so neat to see all of these students come together and raise this money for the Four Diamonds.
An ABC27 special presentation.
All the specialists that she has to see, we don't have to pay for any of those because Four Diamonds picks it up.
For the kids, sponsored by Four Diamonds and Penn State Health Children's Hospital.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Pinkerton. Tonight is for the kids fighting cancer. Each year, young people raise millions of dollars to help families with children diagnosed with cancer. They raise money through Mini-THON events in high school. Tonight, you'll see how their hard work has paid off. Also, we'll get a sneak peek at THON 2024. And if you have any questions about Four Diamonds or pediatric cancer treatment, Denise McCracken is here to tell you how to get your questions answered. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you. Yes, Kelly Walker with Four Diamonds is answering your questions tonight until 8 o'clock, and you can submit questions by going to abc27.com/forthekids. And we'll be back later in the show to share some of those questions and answers with you.
Thank you, Denise. High school students from dozens of school districts in Pennsylvania and 4 neighboring states gathered in Hershey for the Mini-THON Leadership Summit. A time to look back and to look forward. Take a look. The energy inside this room is amazing. High school students are geared up and ready to raise money for kids battling cancer. This year is special. It's the 30th anniversary of Mini-THON. It all began with Hershey High School. DJ Matt Haynes was given the honors to spin the tunes for the students.
They reached out to me for the Mini-THON on February 4th and 5th of 1994. I'm like, absolutely. And that's what got me in.
The fundraising event included about 75 high schoolers.
The first one was an 18-hour. It started on a Friday night and it went till 2 in the afternoon the next day. And I gotta give it to the students. I mean, they kept going.
In 1994, students raised $1,500. 30 years later, in 2023, the amount raised is astounding.
And the total for Mini-THON 2023 is
Hershey High School students continue to raise thousands of dollars each year.
As I learned more about the families, the Four Diamonds families and their stories, I just got more involved and more passionate about the cause.
It just becomes a surreal experience to see how much of a bigger cause than it is than ourselves, and how many people it impacts, and how they don't have to face any financial burdens because of what the Four Diamonds does.
So true.
That probably raises the most money.
As students hone their fundraising skills, Matt prepares for another year of encouraging these teens. In addition to Hershey's Mini-THON, he is now a DJ for other mid-state schools. This has become very personal to him.
I have 3 bands here. One is for the Four Diamonds itself, and these 2 happen to be, ironically enough, 2 students at Hempfield, a 5th grader and a 3rd grader that unfortunately have cancer. This one has not come off my wrist for the better part of 2 years.
Four Diamonds represents courage, wisdom, honesty, and strength. And that's what these students stand for. Their efforts will always be remembered.
It's incredible to think that this event started here at Hershey in 1994, and it's not only still going strong, but continuing to grow. Seeing that is just incredible.
For Matt, being a DJ at Mini-THONs is no longer really a job for him, it's a lifelong cause. And really what these students do is amazing. And joining us right now is Suzanne Graney, Executive Director of Four Diamonds. 30 years of Mini-THON. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Let's talk about how it's evolved over the years.
It's really incredible. It has been exciting to see what's happened over the last decade or more. We had Mini-THONs that started at one school and then a couple more grew. And over the first 17 years, we had about 47 schools that were participating. And then out of the last decade, we quadrupled what that number was. And we were so excited to have more than 220 schools that were participating last year, making this possible for all of their student body to be excited to learn about how they can collectively help to solve a societal problem together.
Make a huge difference for a lot of people.
They really do.
Yeah. Being there at the leadership conference was really fun. You were there. I mean, the energy inside there, the music, the kids are so excited and they are so determined. How does your team really work together to continue to encourage them to raise more money?
Well, really, it's odd to say this, but we don't focus just on the money. What we're focused on is how do we make this an inclusive event in all of the schools? How do we encourage student participation? How do we encourage learning about childhood cancer and about how to put their events on? Because what we have found is if they'll focus on why they're doing it, the dollars will come. It is part of what we do. We don't apologize for fundraising, helping kids that are fighting cancer. But really, we start at zero every year and we focus on helping them to understand why it matters. And once they get that, they're off and running.
Yeah, and they are off and running. When you talk about what they raised this year, more than $6 million, how does that make you feel?
It is incredible. We had a theme of all in at our Mini-THON Leadership Summit this year, and these students are all in on helping kids that are fighting cancer. They know that the kids that are fighting don't get a choice in the morning. Are you going to get up and take that therapy? You have to do that. And our students that are running their Mini-THONs and participating are all in to help them.
Let's talk about research because that is so important. How is this being used to advance research?
Yeah, the dollars that are raised through all of these Mini-THONs are helping us to discover why does cancer happen to begin with? Why does the therapy work for one child and not for another? These are really pressing questions that we still don't have answers to. And the research is what's going to lead us to the day when all children will be able to succeed in fighting their cancer and winning on the other side of it.
4 Diamonds does make a huge difference for families, and we know they cover the bills and say the gas, or as far as driving, gasoline costs and things like that, but they do a lot more that many people may not even realize.
Yeah, there are some really wonderful services that are available to families because of the support that comes through Mini-THON and from THON. When we think about what a child needs, things like music and art come to mind, and we have a music therapist, art therapist that works specifically with this patient population. If they were in school, they might be learning about music and learning about art. Those tools are able to be used in a therapeutic way to help them process the emotional part of dealing with cancer, or to be able to express how they're feeling, or to be able to follow instructions doing something that is fun for them and they don't even realize that it's therapy. But all of those therapies are in place to help reduce the stress of going through this process and to provide the highest likelihood of success for each child.
Yeah, and that is very, very special.
Yeah.
Suzanne, we will talk to you a little bit later in the show, but if you would like more information about Penn State Health Children's Hospital, you can go to pennstatehealth.org/children's, or if you would like to make a donation to 4 Diamonds, go to 4diamonds.donordrive.com. Now let's check in with Denise McCracken. What are some of the questions being asked, Denise?
Thanks, Deborah. Well, we have a wide range of questions coming into our web chat tonight, and joining us is Kelly Walker with 4 Diamonds, and she's been pretty busy. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Our first viewer question is, how do you help schools get involved and start their very own Mini-THON?
Four Diamonds invites K through 12 students to join the fight to conquer childhood cancer by joining the Mini-THON program. And once they start and set up a Mini-THON at their school, we assign them to one of our dedicated staff members who's a really great resource throughout the entire school year and can offer a lot of support and guidance as a school kicks off their fundraisers. And we can also share a lot of the free resources that are available to our Mini-THON schools. We have branded merchandise, printed materials, we have access to a fundraising platform. Each year we host an annual leadership conference, and so much more. And to get started, we encourage schools and students to visit our website at fourdiamonds.org and click on the Contact Us tab at the top, or they can call our office at 717-531-6086.
Excellent. Sounds like you have a lot of resources to offer.
We do.
Our next viewer asks, it's amazing that families never see a bill. How do families get introduced to Four Diamonds after their child is diagnosed?
Once a child is diagnosed with cancer, they become a Four Diamonds family with three very basic eligibility requirements. They need to be under the age of 22 at the time of diagnosis, a resident of PA, and they must be receiving their primary oncology care at Penn State Health Children's Hospital. And at that time, the family meets with a Four Diamonds social worker, and the social worker will talk about Four Diamonds, share our mission, and at that time, the social worker will share with the family that they won't have to worry about their medical bills, that because of Four Diamonds and the community's continued support, we cover expenses that aren't paid for by insurance. And that's really just the beginning of the support and the care that we can offer families from the beginning of their diagnosis all the way through the end of their treatment.
That's just amazing, all the resources that you do provide to families. I thank you so much for answering our first round of questions. You'll be with us to answer a few more later on. And if you have a question at home, go to abc27.com/forthekids and submit that question. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For some kids, childhood's not carefree. But with the help of Four Diamonds, Penn State Health Children's Hospital is tackling childhood cancer. Through the latest treatments and life-saving research, they're giving kids a fighting chance. And no Four Diamonds family will ever get a bill for their child's cancer care, so they can focus on more important things. Penn State Health Children's Hospital, giving families hope for today and tomorrow.
You're watching For the Kids, sponsored by Four Diamonds and Penn State Health Children's Hospital.
Welcome back. For the past 51 years, Four Diamonds has helped nearly 5,000 children and families by covering their medical bills and other expenses. It is truly amazing. A Berks County family never heard of Four Diamonds until one day. 16-year-old Adeline Cosentino has been involved with Mini-THON for as long as she can remember.
I think in 5th grade I went to Mini-THON, and that was super fun, and I liked being involved in that.
A year later, in 6th grade, Adeline joined the fundraising effort again, but this time she and her family had a better understanding of Four Diamonds and Mini-THON. It hit home when her younger sister, 9-year-old Celia, was diagnosed with cancer.
She was just feeling really tired and sick all the time in the summer.
So sick, Celia ended up in the emergency room at Penn State Health, where doctors did a CAT scan.
Within minutes of her being done, he pulled me out to another room and he said, "Your daughter has a large mass on her brain." And that is how we found out that it was actually a brain tumor.
It's something that you hear about, but it doesn't seem like something that could ever actually affect you personally. So it's really like scary when it actually does.
Celia's treatment began immediately with surgery.
When we were in the waiting room for her surgery, a social worker came up to us and introduced himself, and he said, "You are now part of Four Diamonds." I really had no idea what that meant.
Sarah quickly found out.
He explained to us that Four Diamonds will take care of us for the duration Financially, they take care of all the medical bills. Anything that insurance doesn't cover, Four Diamonds picks up. We have never had to pay anything, no copays or anything.
A huge relief for Celia's family. Most of Celia's 4th grade year was spent in the hospital.
We lived in the hospital. We lived at Hershey for about 9 months. We'd go home in between cycles for maybe a weekend or 3 days and then come right back and start it all over again.
Which meant Adeline and Celia were separated for long periods of time.
My mom was staying with my sister for the weekdays at the hospital, and I was with my dad at my house like an hour away. And then on Friday nights we would always go up and I would see her, and it was like really nice to be able to see her.
Fridays would be pizza nights.
We'd all like kind of sit in her hospital room in like the chairs and on the bed and stuff, and we'd watch a movie.
A fun time, but a sad time too. Adeline realized how much she missed her sister.
It was really hard not being able to see my sister when she was going through something like really difficult. And it was also hard being separated like from my family because it was kind of isolating.
The sisters found a way to communicate.
I think we would FaceTime like most nights, so it was almost like we were still together because we lived together. So I try to see her like every day, but it's not the same as being in person.
Now Celia is home. The treatment was successful. The sisters attend school together, the way it should be.
She is going into 9th grade and she does really well. She works really hard because things are a little bit harder for her now. She is one of the most determined people I've ever known in my life.
Adeline is determined too. Now she is on the leadership committee for her high school's Mini-THON.
It was really fun being able to participate and actually like help raise money and help plan events, because this is something that I'm very passionate about, so I'm really grateful that it exists and that I get to be a part of it.
Last year, Adeline's high school had a record-breaking year. Students raised more than $57,000. This year, the teens hope to raise even more money. And I have to mention the Cosentinos are from Wyomissing, just like Taylor Swift, and they are huge Taylor Swift fans. Their goal is to get Taylor Swift to perform at THON. So that is the goal. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Sounds great.
Joining us is Dr. Daniel McEwen, pediatric hematologist, oncologist at Penn State Health Children's Hospital. Really, what an amazing family. And your team was part of her care. Tell me, what type of impact did they have on you?
Absolutely. They're an amazing family. And due to the intensive nature of Celia's treatment, she was required to stay in the hospital for the entire duration, almost a year. And I think it's hard for us to fathom how difficult that would be, how physically and mentally and emotionally draining. Celia and her family's resilience through that whole time was truly, truly remarkable.
Yeah, and it's so great to see her sister helping now with Four Diamonds. So here's some good news. Penn State Health Children's Hospital has been ranked as one of the best in the nation for pediatric cancer by U.S. News and World Report. Let's talk about this, the incredible work you're doing to treat pediatric cancer patients right here in our own backyard.
Well, absolutely. We are so lucky to have such a beautiful and modern children's hospital. But I think what's even more important is the incredible group of people working in that building. And we're talking about specialized nurses, coordinators, social workers, the office staff, therapists, pharmacists, dietitians, a psychologist, and a chaplain, all dedicated to providing the very best pediatric oncology care. And it is such a privilege to be a part of that team.
Yeah, everyone working for that same goal. So the research being done at Penn State Health Children's Hospital is really to find a cure to cancer. So talk to us about some of the research, because that plays a very big part in this. What's happening right now there?
Yes, well, as a field, we have made tremendous progress in the treatment of childhood cancer, and that's all due to our dedication to high-quality research. At Penn State, we have teams of laboratory scientists working diligently to better understand the underlying mechanisms of cancer so that we can develop the best therapeutics with minimal side effects. We're also part of several coalitions like the Children's Oncology Group, the Beat Childhood Cancer Consortium, that allow us to offer cutting-edge treatments to our patients and give them the best chance of a cure.
And how does it feel to have 4 Diamonds as a partner?
Well, as a parent, I think some of the scariest words you could possibly hear are, your child has cancer. And that's only the beginning of a long conversation that can be quite overwhelming. And we talk about what type of cancer, the treatments, the prognosis, the necessary surgeries and procedures, tests and scans that their child will be going through over the next months to years. And you can see the families and how they are digesting this information and how they're processing how much their life is going to change. And I think, you know, the glimmer that we can offer them is when we start talking about 4 Diamonds, and we can say, you can focus on caring for your child and not worry about the financial burden of that treatment.
What is your final message that you would like to leave with our viewers?
Well, luckily pediatric cancer is rare, but if your child is in the position where they're facing that challenge, you have access to a world-class pediatric oncology team that is ready to walk with you through that difficult journey. And we are so lucky to have our partners with 4 Diamonds there to help provide support for our patients, our families, and our research mission so that eventually every child will be cured.
And that's certainly something every parent wants to hear if they're placed in this situation.
Absolutely.
Dr. McEwen, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
And if you would like more information, or if you would like to make a donation, you can go to PennStateHealth.org/children's, or if you would like to make that donation, go to 4diamonds.donordrive.com. Let's check in with Denise and get more answers to our web chat questions. Denise.
Thanks, Deborah. Well, Kelly Walker with 4 Diamonds, the communications director with 4 Diamonds, is answering more web chat questions, and let's go ahead and check our next question. This viewer asks, how can businesses get involved to create their own fundraisers for 4 Diamonds?
Businesses of any size can make a really big impact to help conquer childhood cancer, and particularly in September, we have a variety of ways to get involved. We actually have a newer fundraising program called Play for the Kids, which is a great way to engage employees. And so we invite businesses who want to give back and get involved to visit our website, 4diamonds.org, click on the Contact Us tab, and we'll connect you with a 4 Diamonds staff member who can understand what's meaningful to your business and how you want to engage.
Excellent. Our next viewer asks, my child participated in music therapy while she was receiving treatment. How do you all work together to find personalized activities for each child?
Sure. Our care team meets once a week, and at that time they evaluate and assess the needs of every 4 Diamonds child. At that time they might share a goal that the child could work on through music therapy or art therapy. They might offer a suggestion for intervention or an activity to meet the child where they are in their cancer journey, and they also assess the needs of the entire 4 Diamonds family so that they're providing support to everyone involved. And the intention of this very personalized and individualized treatment is to ensure that the child and the entire 4 Diamonds family gets through this cancer journey together.
Kelly, thank you so much for all of your information tonight. You'll be here until 8 answering viewer questions. And if you have a question at home, there's still time to send that in. Go to abc27.com/forthekids. Back to you, Deborah.
And thank you, Denise. Back with us is Suzanne Graney, Executive Director of 4 Diamonds. Now, we've spent a lot of time this evening talking about the impact of Mini-THON, but we know that Big Thon is coming again in February, and we want to sort of get a sneak peek of 2024. And Taylor Swift?
That would be a dream. Who knows? You know, everything's always a secret till we get a little bit closer to Thon weekend, but we do know for sure Thon will happen the 3rd weekend in February in 2024, and we know that the student leadership team is hard at work recruiting other students to work with them, getting all sorts of activities planned. They have a 5K coming up in just a couple of weeks, and there's all sorts of opportunities for students and the community to support those students as they ramp up to the big weekend in February.
And it's really just amazing how many kids come together to do this at Thon. I mean, this is really a monumental event.
Oh, it is. I mean, there are more than 16,000 students that participate every year, more than 5 million hours of volunteer time that they donate every year to make this happen, to help kids that are fighting cancer and to look for a better future for every child who might face that in the future.
Yeah, so proud of each and every one of them. So we know your mission is to find a cure, and let's talk about the importance again of research.
Yeah, really, when we think about research, I look at it sometimes like a puzzle, and we're searching for all of the pieces so that we can put it together in a way that makes it possible for every child to be able to survive and thrive, have lower side effects from the treatments that they're receiving. But we still have questions that need to be answered. Why does it happen? How does it spread? How can we treat it differently? Why does one child respond to a therapy and another child doesn't have the same response? So really looking at the makeup of an individual human being and how can we treat that person the exact way that their body will respond to a treatment, which might be different than the child that's sitting right next to them. So there's still so much for us to learn, but all of that is worthwhile for us to do because our ultimate goal is to make sure that every child has that opportunity to survive and thrive.
Yeah, that is wonderful. So donations, this is something that you can do year round.
Oh, absolutely. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, but we say it's every single day at Four Diamonds is Childhood Cancer Awareness Day. You can make a gift at any time at fourdiamonds.org, click the donate button, or you can make a gift at thon.org, whichever place is the one that speaks to your heart. We appreciate all of the gifts that come in, all the generosity of our community, whether they're helping us through Mini-THON, through THON, or directly through Four Diamonds.
And people do certainly step up. When they hear about Four Diamonds, they donate.
We have such a generous community. We are so grateful and thankful for that continued loyal support for what we're doing to help these kids.
Suzanne, thanks so much. Always good seeing you.
It's always a pleasure, Deborah. Thank you.
And we send a special thanks to the Cosentino family, Matt Haynes, and Hershey High School students for sharing their stories, and you, our viewers, for sending in your questions. If you would like more information about Penn State Health Children's Hospital, you can go to pennstatehealth.org/children's. Or if you would like to make a donation to Four Diamonds, as Suzanne said, you can go to fourdiamonds.donordrive.com. Now, coming up on Wednesday, September 27th at 7:30, you do not want to miss Prostate Cancer, A Matter of Facts. Patients will share their journeys and doctors will talk about the latest treatments available. Once again, that is Wednesday, September 27th, right here on ABC27 at 7:30. And we want to thank you for watching tonight, and we wish you good health.